Welcome back guys, this is Richard from Productivv Academy, and in this Flutter tutorial I'm going to give you a basics of the Dart programming language. So if you don't know already what is Dart programming language, Dart is the programming language used by Flutter to code Flutter apps. So this programming language can be directly converted into both Android and iOS code. So before we dive into Flutter, we need to know the basics of Dart programming language, right? So in this video is going to be a complete crash course of the Dart programming language, and I'm not going to be teaching you all the programming concepts right from the beginning. I'm just going to show you how things work in Dart. I'm not going to show you what is a if condition, or I'm not going to explain those things in detail. So it's better if you know some basics of programming on any language. If you know Python or Java, any language is fine. Make sure you know some basics of programming before you dive into this video. So without any further ado, let's get started. Go to your browser and type in Dartpad and go to this link dartpad.dev. So this is an online Dart IDE or a compiler. So yes, I'm inside my compiler and this is my default Dart code. So yeah, so this is my default Dart code. I can run it or I can erase it and write from the beginning. So whenever you're using Dart, there is something called as void main. So any code you write should be inside this void main function. Any code inside this void main function will be running. Anything outside this function will not be running, and it will show you an error. So let me print something. Let me say print hello, and Dart should have semicolon at the end. If you are used to Python like me, I'm used to Python actually, so Dart should have semicolon at the end. Make sure you are putting semicolon at the end of every line. And okay, so I'm printing something inside the void main function. Now let me run it. I'll click on run. Let me zoom in the window a little bit, and I will push this side. Yeah, this is better. So yeah, and when I ran hello, print hello, my output is hello. So my code works. Now let me try to print something outside the void main function. I'll say print hello Richard. Alright, so I'm printing something outside the void main function, semicolon, and when I run this, it's showing me an error. Expected an identifier line 5, a function body must be provided, because I'm writing this outside a function. In Python this would work, but in Dart this is not working because Dart needs to be compiled inside a function. So if I cut this part and write it inside this void main function, and now I'll run it. Yeah, it works perfectly for me now. It's showing me hello Richard. So this is the way you print something in Dart, and void main is the part that will be running whenever you are compiling your Dart code. So main part of your code or the function should be called inside void main. So this is the part that will be running. So now let's dive into variables in Dart. I hope you know what are variables already. Variables are memory storage location in which you can store numbers, letters, and even boolean values. So let's get started. And if you are used with Python, you know variables don't need to have their data type right here, but in Dart you need to give their data type. Like I'm defining a number now. I'll say n equals 20, and this 20 is an integer, so I should say int n. So this variable is an integer and I'm going to store an integer value inside it. So I need to give the data type before the variable, and here I'll print the result. I'll say print n, and hopefully 20 will be printed for us. So let's see, and I say run. Alright, now 20 is being printed for us. So whenever you define a variable in Dart, you need to specify the data type. Let me define another variable. I'll call it string name. I'll say name equals Richard, R-I-C-H-A-R-D. So alright, and a semicolon, and I'll print my name, print name. So let's see now. So this is a string, so we need to give string before the variable name. Alright, you can see first I'm printing my name, so it's saying Richard, and the next one is the number n, that is 20. What if you want to change your variable in Python? Or in Python you can change your variable very easily, but in Dart it's not possible. It's not really possible. Well, if I want to change the variable name, like I have assigned the variable name as Richard, what if I want to change it into a number? For example, I'll say 30. Will it work? Let's try and run it. Obviously I'm getting an error. So I'm getting an error here. A value of type int can be assigned to a variable of type string. So this variable is type string and I'm storing an integer in it. It is not possible, but in Python it was possible, but it's not possible in Dart. So what if you want to assign different values to a variable, or you want to change the data types to a variable? There's a function for that too. So you can say something called as dynamic. You can define a dynamic variable, and I'll call it n equals, and I'll give it a name Richard, and I'll give a semicolon, and I'll print it, print n. All right, so let's see the results now. Okay, I'm not giving the semicolon. Well, I'm so used to Python and I can't just get used to this Dart language very soon. All right. Okay, so I'm getting the result as Richard, so it's working perfectly. Now what if I want to change my variable? That is the point, right? I need to change the type of my variable. I'll say n equals, I'm saying the same variable name, equals 30, and kindly note I'm not giving any data type before it. I'm just changing the data type and changing the value completely. Now if I say print n, and if I run it, it's taking a lot of time to run. Maybe my internet is slow. Alright, so I'm getting the value Richard in the first when I'm printing it, and then I'm changing the value into 30, and when I print it I'm getting the value as 30. What if I change it again? Well, let me change it again into n equals, well, I'll say Rosario. That is my second name, by the way. What if I change it? Oh my god, semicolon, and I'll print it here, print n. Alright, so it's working. I'm getting Richard, 30, Rosario. So in a dynamic variable name, you can change its value and change its data type independently. So you can also define a Boolean data type in your variable. So let me erase it all, and I'll create a new variable with the data type as Boolean, and I'll call the variable name as Richard idiot. So if you already know, Boolean data type can only contain true or false in it. It cannot contain any other values. It can only contain either true or false inside it. So I'm gonna give it as true because that's true, and I'll print my variable name now. Print Richard idiot. So let me try it now. So yeah, it's working. What if I give the value as false? False. Now if I run it, and again it works. So now I hope you're clear with how to define a variable in Dart. Now let's move on into list. So what is a list? List is a collection of items. I hope you know already. Well, if you want to define a list, you can say define the data type as list, and the name of the list, I'll say L, the name of my list, and I'll give some values inside it. Well, my first value might be A, B, C. Well, you can give any values, any names or any numbers, it doesn't matter. And I will give a number. For example, I will give the number as 30. Alright, so I have defined the list successfully, and now if I go and print it, print my list L, and I will run it. So yeah, my list has been successfully printed, and you can even do list operations in Dart. So let me do some list operations. My name of my list is L, and I'll say L.add, and I will add another new value into my list. I will call it Z, and yeah, and I will add another value also. I'll add another value 20. Now let me print my list, print L. So let's see how it works. Oh my god, semicolon. Yeah, so the value is 20 and Z has been added to my list. What if I want to remove values from my list? There is functions for that too. I'll say L.remove, and I'll remove the value C, for example, and also I'll remove the value L.remove 30. And now let's print our list. If I run it now, so yeah, this is my original list, and then I added two values into my list, Z and 20, and then I removed two values, C and 30 from my list, and this is my final list. We will be using lists in Flutter a lot. And now let's dive into functions, and functions will be used everywhere. So literally our dot code will be made of functions. So let's see what are functions. So let me now erase it all. So now I will define a new function and I'll call it void hello. So this function will greet the users probably, and here I'll say print hello. So will this function run automatically? Let's see that. So it's not printing the hello part in this console, because I told you, right, whatever given inside the void main part will be the only part that is running. This is the main part of the function, and anything inside this will be the only part that is running. So what should we do? Should we copy this whole function and paste it inside it? No, what we can do is we can call our function inside this void main. How can I do that? Is I can just say hello, the name of my function, and brackets, so that it knows that is the function, and a semicolon. Now I'll run it, and my function will be called inside this void main, so that my console will return the respective output of the function. And what does this void mean? Void means there will be no return statement. If you are familiar with functions, you know functions give a return value. They will return something, some value or a number or a boolean. They will return something. But if it's a void function, it can't return anything. Let me ask my function to return a, and I'll give a semicolon, and let me run it now. So it's showing me the value of type string can be written from the function hello, because it has a return type of void. Void means nothing, so it will return nothing. So what can I do to make my function return the value hey? So I should change this function from a void type function to the data type of the return value. So this return value is a string, so I should change it from the void function to a string function. I will say string, oh my god, hello. Yeah, so this function is going to return me a string. That is what I'm saying by saying the string as, setting the string as hello. So this function will return me a string. Now if I run it and I will remove this print statement, what I'll do is, since my function is returning something, I need to store my function in a variable and then print that variable. So I'll say a equals hello, and then I'll say print a. I'll run this now. So it's showing me an error. Why is it showing me an error? Because I just said I told you dot variables needs to be set on data type. So this variable is returning a string, so I need to set it as a string. So I'll say string a equals hello. All right, now it will work. So yeah, I'm getting the output as hey. My function is returning a string hey, and I'm getting the output as hey. And there is an easier way to do this. There is an easier way to make my function return stuff. So what I can do is I'll remove all of these, and I'll just say equal to and an greater than symbol, and then hey. I'll add another y. Okay. So this part works just as the same as the previous one. We return something using the return statement, right? We are doing the same thing by using this shortcut. So what if I run it now? So it's successfully returning as hey part. So you can return small stuff using this method. You can say an equal to and then a greater than symbol and any value you want to return according to the data type of the function. If you don't understand any of the stuff I'm saying, then make sure you know the basics of programming, because you need to know how a function works before you know how it works in a Dart programming language. So make sure you know the basics of programming and then come back to this video if you don't understand stuff. And still, if you don't understand after knowing the basics, I would recommend you to go to this Dart pad and write the code I'm writing side by side, so you know how it works and you can experiment with this code.